Hey, Tommy, if I was gonna break your balls, I'd tell you to go home and get your shinebox.
That's the famous insult. In the film, it triggers a sudden, rage-filled murder. But the reality was far colder. The killing was meticulously planned for 2 weeks. It wasn't about a shine box.
He went away for 6 years to the feds, and when he come home, he thought he was entitled.
The true shock is that Jimmy Burke orchestrated it. This was the crew's true broken code, a code Henry Hill was desperate to be a part of. The film states Henry always wanted to be a gangster, and that was the absolute truth. His life changed when he met Paul Vario, the real Paulie who ran his operations out of a local cab dispatch. Vario was a capo in the Lucchese crime family. Henry started small, serving drinks and running errands, but Vario gave him more than a job. He gave him protection. Vario told anyone who asked that Henry was a relative. This was the first and most crucial promise of the unwritten code. Loyalty earns you family. By 14, Henry was a loan shark and had a no-show job in a union, getting all the reward with none of the labor. The power and money were intoxicating. This crew would eventually include James Burke, the infamous Jimmy Conway, a man whose greed would shatter that very code of family. The crew's violence was escalating, but Henry was about to commit the biggest sin of all. Going against the strict rules of the Lucchese family, Henry and Jimmy Burke started trafficking drugs, cocaine and quads.
Just don't do it.
Paul Vario strictly forbade it. This fatal sin was born from arrogance. The money was too easy, and Henry believed he was untouchable. He betrayed his capo's direct order. But it was a double betrayal. Henry didn't just sell the poison, he became addicted to it. The life he built was literally making him paranoid and unstable. While Henry was getting rich and high, Jimmy Burke was planning his next big score, the Lufthansa heist. The crew successfully stole $5 million in cash. It was the biggest cash robbery in American history.
What? Did you hear what I said? Don't buy anything, don't get anything, nothing big. Did you hear what I said?
But the scale of the theft triggered Jimmy Burke's ultimate paranoia. He feared being implicated and decided on one solution: silence. This is where the unwritten code died. Burke had 9 associates killed to ensure their silence. He murdered the people who trusted him to save his own skin.
It was very hard to develop evidence in the Lufthansa case because people who were involved started turning up dead.
Loyalty was gone, and shortly after, Tommy DeSimone vanished, likely whacked in retaliation for the original Billy Batts murder. Henry's own actions, the drug dealing, led to his arrest in 1980. But the real fear wasn't jail. It was the inevitable end by Jimmy.
That Henry was going to keep its mouth shut.
I knew Paulie was going to whack me, Jimmy was going to whack me, you know. It was so fucking crazy, you know.
He could have counted the days before he was killed.
Henry knew Jimmy had killed everyone involved in the heist. He knew Burke was planning to kill him too. Henry's choice was simple: die by the broken code or betray the code to survive. He chose to talk.
I mean, looking at these fucking guys, you know what I mean? These bosses of bosses and shit, you know?
Henry's testimony was ruthless, but he had to prove his worth. He helped convict over 50 mobsters, including Paul Vario and his former friend Jimmy Burke.
He showed up in the courts in New York, came back many times, and was invaluable. And
He was a total coke freak, pill freak. I mean, he was on everything that he could take. He would ingest anything.
The FBI knew that Henry's free-roaming testimony was the key. Every truth he told opened a new can of worms.
You know, I just told the fucking truth, and every time I told the truth, it opened another fucking can of worms. And, you know, and it started another investigation and another fucking case, and I had no idea that this was going on.
And because of that, several major investigations began.
We were able to make some significant cases and develop all sorts of other evidence that led to other investigations and prosecutions.
The most shocking result: Henry revealed that he and Jimmy Burke had been fixing basketball games at Boston College.
You know, you're completely nuts. I said, you got a real serious problem here.
Motherfucker almost leaped over the fucking table. He tried to grab me, but...
This seemingly innocuous gambling scam became the fatal trap for Jimmy Burke. The mastermind of the Lufthansa heist, the man who had murdered at least 50 people, was finally convicted on the gambling charges.
They were absolutely the highest quality targets that we had in the most difficult cases that we had, and Henry was an extraordinarily valuable witness.
Burke was sentenced to life in prison and died behind bars. His former protege, Paul Vario, was sentenced to 12 years for extortion. But the fear did not end. From prison, Burke immediately organized a multi-million-dollar contract on Henry's life. The threat to Henry, his wife, and his children was constant. Henry Hill would spend the next 25 years of his life on the run. This perpetual threat fueled the alcoholism and addiction that plagued him. Even after he beat the mob, Henry couldn't follow the rules. He was arrested again, convicted of drug trafficking, and kicked out of the witness protection program. The ultimate irony, Henry Hill died in his bed in 2012, not from a mob hit but from heart disease. He beat the mob, but his own self-destructive habits, the same ones that broke the code, ultimately caught up to him.
I'm an average nobody. Get to live the rest of my life like a schnook.
That is the man Henry Hill became after he betrayed the mob. The sobering price of survival. What do you think was Henry's biggest mistake? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and check out our other true crime videos.